So what I want to do in this section is give you some visuals of Bulike. First of all, it's not really a village. It's an area of about 48,000 people that live here. And most of what you see is what you see here. Greenery, huts, some houses. They're usually compounds where multiple generations all live together. And there's only one area that looks a little bit more like a village center coming up next. It's a very small section. There's only one of these in the entire region, and this is a region that sometimes takes about 30 minutes by car, go from one end to another. So it's a vast area. So this is the closest that I can say is, you know, a city or a town center, but everything else is basically this collection of huts, small houses. Now what's surprising is, despite the poverty here, the compounds are extremely clean. I mean, look at this photos. You can see the marks from the broom, and 95% of the compounds look like this. It's really amazing. Now because this area is so vast, there actually is a swamp area where they even grow rice, and it is a water source for people that live within an hour of this. And so unfortunately the water is very poor quality, and this is where a lot of the children you know, get worms from, and diarrhea, and basically get sick, and many have died from them. So this is one of the major water sources again for people that live close by, but many parts of this area don't live within easy walking distance of the swamp. Here's some photos of the people in the compounds, and I didn't really see that many people eating, and I asked Ronald about that, and he says most people between the harvest like now actually don't eat during the day, not even a meal. I did see people eating on Sunday, but not really during the week at all. One serious issue is definitely the roads. Not only are they, you know, dirt, but it is really difficult getting around. Alright, now one thing you'll notice is these men. This is a very common sight, that men in this culture just don't work. You saw them hanging out at the house, hanging around with each other. All you saw in the fields was women and children. The men just were not to be found working, and so this was a very common sight. While we were there, we witnessed one of the comprehensive health clinics, which was such a sight to behold, as you can see here. Just hundreds of people milling about, and we got there late in the day. They said the line was all the way to the road, and they were turning people away. And they have different stations set up where different doctors were seeing different people. Here was the general doctor, and he had a pretty long line as well. This was a dentist. He was pulling a tooth right there in front of us. Eye doctor was there as well. Medicine disbursement. There was some prenatal care as well. And this is a medical clinic which is almost done, and actually part of it was already functional with a doctor and a nurse that was there who was telling us about some of the issues that they were dealing with. This is the doctor who was seeing, I don't know, about 25 people waiting in the hallway, and he's assisted by a nurse in the other room who's dispensing medicine and providing other kinds of advice. And he brought in his mother with his child, who was just heartbreaking. He said it was an example of malnutrition, and he described the symptoms, which is the hair is falling out, as you can see here, and the child's muscles atrophied, did not develop fully, which means the child couldn't walk. And he says the brain development has slowed drastically. And he says he can fix the physical ailments, but the brain development, it is what it is. And he says the only reason the mother is here is because the child stopped eating completely the last week and had been coughing uncontrollably for the last 4. So she thought she would bring the child in And he says he deals with this frequently because the women don't know how to prepare the food. They eat this crop called cassava, which has a little bit more nutrition than paper, and then they dry it, which depletes the nutritional value entirely. And so it's not just the food that they eat, it's also how they prepare it. So they provide a lot of education to the women, especially also around prenatal care as well. And he says that was one of the bigger needs in the community, is to be able to provide childbirth at the facility. So when you come to visit Bulike, here's where you'll be staying at in the mission house. It's a really nice place, very comfortable by our standards even. It's surrounded by a high fence. It sits on about an acre, maybe a little more, all fenced. It's got running water. It's got electricity provided by a generator and a solar panel. In the back you can see the model gardens as well. This is the well, and the well supplies the mission house itself, as well as the farm that you see there that is used to teach the people how to farm. We'll take a look at that later. Alright, so let's take a look inside. There are 4 bedrooms, and there's 2 bunk beds in each room. It's the living area there, dining area. It's got the kitchen, and my goodness, Rona and team provided us with incredible meals every single day. Get your mosquito nets, get your own bathroom. It's fantastic.